Hey Joey, how are things? Thanks for coming on. All's good with me. Just trying to move through silver fast, as it's not really fast, as we know. How are things with you? Yeah, Joey, things are kind of turbulent at the moment, right? Hope you and your family are doing all right. It's some weird times at the moment. So these photographs were taken in January. I have around 4 rolls of film to get through at the moment, and my neighbour was helping me paint my living room wall. And while he was helping me, he has this lovely dog called Molly, and he asked me to go in and check on her. So I did, and used it as an opportunity to get some photos of her. She's, I think, 14, so she's really old, but she's gorgeous. And I realized that I actually loaded the film wrong for the first few images, so we're starting from scratch with this roll. But yeah, really happy they came out. I might print them off and give them to him as a gift, maybe. I think he was 60 this year, so it might be a nice 60th present to give it to him. So we'll see. We'll see. Hi, John. How are you? Oh, that's amazing. What's the large format like? I'd say it's not easy. I've never used it before. I've only used medium format. But are you enjoying it? Definitely a change from 35mm. And what have you been shooting, Joey? Like, what are you focusing on at the moment? Yeah, that's the one thing about large format cameras. I think just the detail you get in them is incredible. Yeah, I'm so jealous. I would love to, at one stage, get a Rolleiflex. I mean, a Hasselblad would be really cool, medium format. But yeah, I do love that. I think it's just the detail in some of the images you get is incredible. But yeah, not yet, not for me. How large is that camera, Joey? The large format? Like, incomparable to what size. Yeah, I had a Mamiya or Z67 before that I never really used, and like it was such a beautiful camera, but I found it was like too heavy, so I sold it because I knew I just wouldn't use it. I prefer compact cameras, but they're still amazing though, and I feel like it's another skill in itself compared to 35mm. Learning how to shoot medium format or large format, it's just a completely different ballgame. Yeah, at some stage I will. I will try large format, but I don't think anytime soon. I think the experience I had this week with a lot of my frames coming out overexposed, I think really put into perspective for me how I would like to completely master 35mm and manual light metering before moving on to a different format. And it's funny because when I was shooting the images that I got back, I remember when I was shooting, I was thinking to myself, what would the correct f-stop be, or the correct shutter speed? But I was using Sunny 16 and literally just like completely was overthinking the entire thing. It was sunny out, I should have just used f16, but I dropped down to 5.6 for like God knows what reason. Like I genuinely have no idea what I was doing. I just wasn't thinking. I think that's another thing with photography, like you can completely overthink it, or for me anyway. Yeah, I haven't been using a light meter because I did get I did buy a light meter that I was using for like indoors, but I haven't been using it, and I think that's a mistake. Well, not really, because I've learned a lot without the light meter, but now I'm kind of coming to a stage where it's getting really disappointing if I don't get the image. And I know it's not about the final image is not the most important thing, it's about the process, right? But I think that the frustration for me isn't worth it. So using a light meter from now on might be what I'll do. Even just to double check. I was out yesterday and I used a light meter, and I felt so much more confident knowing that the shots will come out the way I want them to. But I really would like to learn. I just would really like to be so good at exposing that I could look at any image and be like, I know exactly what that's going to be. Yeah, so we'll see. Thanks, I appreciate that. Maybe I'll write a book one day, but yeah, you can read my Substack if you want. I'm planning on doing a lot more writing on my Substack over the next couple of months. So yeah, I'm going to try dive a little bit more deeper into the philosophy of photography and some of the practices that I use, that I have, and how I'm learning. So yeah, it might be of interest. Yeah, of course you read it. Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it. Number one fan. I actually feel with this Silverfast software that it is so slow. And the reason why it's so slow is because I have the AI dust detector on, which is basically just like infrared scanning, making sure that no dust at all has gone onto the negatives. And a part of me thinks I might just not use it for the rest of this this scan because it's just so slow. And yeah, I actually do like a bit of dust in my images. I think it creates a more authentic effect, I guess. But also I can just use Lightroom to kind of dot out the specks a little bit. So yeah, maybe I'll do that moving forward. Just because I'm trying to learn how to have patience, but I don't have that much patience at all. So this is slow enough for me. Yeah, in terms of photography books, I've got a few. So the one that I always come back to is Rome by Anders Peterson. I think is a really good one, and I really enjoy that. And I also really like, is it Bike Riders by Danny Lyne, I think his name is. There's a few books that I really like, but I can go through them a different time. But I find that photo books are so expensive these days. I'd rather spend it on film. And I know that's controversial, but I just can't afford it. Things are expensive right now. Don't judge me for the way I handle the film. I know that it's I should probably get gloves, but I also prefer it this way. It's just a lot easier. The weather has been so good, Joey. Like, thank God, because I remember last time I was scanning film with you guys and it was dreary. Like, it was really bad. But it's gone really good in Dublin. Well, good as in as good as it can be for March. It's like 12 degrees today, Celsius. And yeah, we're just very lucky. We're really lucky because it's been dark for so long. But how's the weather in Israel? I feel like you guys get good weather all year round. Found me on Facebook. I don't know what's on my Facebook now, so I'd be very careful going on to that. No, I'm only joking, but I think that it's I don't really use Facebook. I post whatever goes onto my Instagram story goes onto my Facebook story, and I use Messenger to maybe chat to people who I don't have an Instagram. But Facebook is really not my thing. You don't really have any winter. I think I like having I won't call it 4 seasons, call it 2 maybe, good weather and bad weather. I kind of like that. I always thought I'd be envious of people like yourself who live in like really hot countries with great weather all the time. But I don't know, maybe it's just the Irish in me. I don't mind some of the rain and the winter, but just not all the time. Lucky you though. I'm raging this one's out of focus. That would have been perfect. Do I ever miss the convenience of digital? Yeah. Do I? That's a good question. I miss, when you say convenience, like getting the images really fast. I don't miss that. I like waiting for the images. I think there's something special about it. Do I miss the convenience of having like auto settings and not worrying about having to get the shot? Yeah, I miss that, because if you see something you know it's going to be good, you stick it on auto and then you just go and you can take like multiple of them. So I miss that, but at the same time I think it's one of those things that I'm playing the long game when it comes to photography. I'd rather miss some shots and then, yeah, just suffer the consequences of it and learn from my mistakes, because I think that's how we get better. Like when I first got the Leica, I was down in the country with my parents and my sister and her partner and my nephew, and I was on the beach with my dad and my nephew, and they were like playing in the water, and I got some beautiful shots that I thought on my Leica, and it was maybe the first or second shot or second roll that I loaded, and yeah, didn't load it properly, and obviously rookie mistake, but it was one of my first times using it. So for that I miss the convenience of digital, because I would have those photographs today, but it was a very good learning curve for me, and I don't think I've loaded a roll of film wrong since. So Yeah, I actually have a digital camera already one of them that I didn't sell. Well, firstly because it wouldn't really be worth anything, but secondly, I kept it as kind of a backup, and um, that's such a nice photo of Molly. I think Sean would really like that photo. I have this. It's a Fuji X30 compact camera, and it has a tiny little flash on it as well. I love it so much. I got it for maybe, I think, £400 in London. God, it must have been 2015 or something like that. And it's so cute, but it is perfect for taking like quick candid shots. And I never really wanted to sell it. I think it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And like the lens is cracked and everything, like it's been through hell. But I love it. I absolutely love it. So in terms of other digital gear, I would consider maybe, I don't know, maybe like a Sony, I guess. I don't even know if I would like that. Mainly just to maybe do video with, maybe. And if I was to get any more commercial work, I'd consider digital again, but I don't really get much joy out of it. You have a few digital cameras, I think, Joey, don't you? Yeah, DSLRs are considered vintage now, which is crazy. Um, I used to have a Nikon D610, and that was a really good camera, really, really good. But I don't know, I just find it wild how SLRs, I feel like they're like cars. Like over the years, you trade them in for a better one. I never really understood that. And that's why I really like, um, why I really like old film cameras. They almost increase in value over time, whereas I find with digital SLRs, they just completely decrease. And yeah, they're just not good. Where am I going now? Yeah, I completely agree. They are literally just a computer with a screen and a lens, and yeah, I think it's way too much. I don't think we need that much technology to take a photograph. And while I think it was interesting at the beginning to have that kind of technology, I don't think it's doing photographers any favors. Like, if I would love to take, I'd love to see a lot of the really well-known, really successful photographers out there, and I'd love to see that shoot digital only. I'd love to see what they could do with the film camera, and that's not to be a bitch or anything like that, but I would love to see if they have the skill without the technology. And that's what I think true photography is. Now, a lot of people would disagree with me, and a lot of people would think that digital is a godsend because maybe they grew up with film or whatever. This is just my personal opinion. I think that it takes one skill to be able to see something and being able to notice it and say, okay, this light is really nice, this composition is really nice, I would like to take a photo of it. But then it takes a different skill to actually be able to take that photo and take it well. And that's when I talk about the art of seeing a lot of the time, or the stages of seeing. It starts with the art of noticing. I feel like a lot of people have a good eye, but moving into the mental frame is learning about the camera. And then the final stage is the camera is the extension of the self. I've been doing a lot of writing around it, and that's where I think there's a big difference. I think a lot of digital photographers have an eye, but maybe don't have the skill. A lot of film photographers too, not just digital. Yeah, no way. The eye tracking and stuff, it won't make you a better photographer, but you might definitely get a better shot. But it doesn't mean that you're more skilled. But each to their own. I mean, everyone has different opinions. This is so much quicker without using the infrared dust remover. Even though it's still slow, it's not as slow, which is great. Thanks. Yeah, it is in focus. Yeah. So I'm just thinking, I met this guy after I was out with a friend. We went to this gig and I saw him on the street and he looked amazing. He had these flares on and this jacket, and I was like, I need to get his photo. And so I got his photo, but I'm just thinking this world of film, I thought I met him in November. Or maybe it was January. Hold on. That's how much I'm not looking at some of the film I get developed. I just kind of leave it and see what happens. That's with flash, yeah. I use the Leica M4P for these photographs and XP2. And the flash I have is a Godox Lux Junior. Which is good. Like, I've been practicing with it recently. And the only thing is that it loads really slow, which I don't particularly like. I'm just trying to get messages from my friend. I can't remember the name of the gig that we went to. Because then I think it was, maybe this was in November. I can't remember. That's actually a really cool photo. Scan. I need to send them to this guy. Yeah, it was January the 23rd. That makes sense. I feel like those photographs were taken last year for some reason. Focal length is 28mm. I have a Voigtlander 28mm color scope arm. That's the only lens I'm using, but I really, really want to get a 50mm, and I haven't bought one yet. I'm in the market for one, but yeah, XP2. Do you know what I love about it is that it's, because I'm not developing at home yet, it's a lot cheaper to get C41 developed. It's like €5 per roll. And then I can just scan at home. And I feel like, even though it's not true black and white, it allows me to make the mistakes that I make with exposure and composition. And while I'm in a stage of developing my skills, I just feel like it's a cheaper, better option. So it's a beautiful film stock to work with, and I think it's really forgiving as well. And yeah, I just really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. Yeah, why do you think 28mm is difficult? I'd be keen to know. But I also have a feeling, I think I know why, but I'd be keen to hear what you think. Well, that is shocking. That is I knew it wouldn't come out, but that's a picture of the gig at the stage. Yeah, I get that completely. There is a lot that goes on in the frame of 28mm, and I really like it because of the environment aspect of it, and I think it gives a lot of context in an image. Unless you are up close in someone's face, 28mm I think is really good for environment shots, and yeah, telling a story within an environment. But I think it can be really hard, and I think the composition can get messy super quickly, so it makes sense. I used to shoot 35mm when I had a Nikon, and that was really enjoyable too. But I think if I am going to get another lens, I'll get the 50mm, just because it is far enough away from the 28mm for me. Yeah, Joey, you should try it. I think it would be interesting to see what kind of shots you'd take. I'm really interested in getting the 50mm because I think I mentioned this before in one of my other videos that I'm really craving intimacy in images. Oh, well, that basically came out blank. Yeah, I'm craving intimacy in images and a closeness and depth that 28mm can't give me. So that's where the 50mm might work. I think anything higher than that, I don't think would suit my style. But I really think that my style is evolving away from a 28mm frame, away from, I feel like with 28mm, you really have to get close to your subject physically. But I also still feel that you're almost too far back or something. So yeah, I think I'm craving more intimacy with my subjects, and that 50mm might give that to me. So we'll see. I can't afford a 50mm lens at the moment, so maybe over the next 6 months or so if I save. Jan, you should definitely get a 28mm. Get the color scope bar if you have a Leica M, the Voigtlander color scope bar. Really, really nice lens. I was so surprised with how cheap it is. Well, comparison with some of the other lenses out there, but also how just accessible it is and quick. And all of the photographs that you'll see on my Instagram or from my YouTube videos or any of these, they're all 28mm from that specific lens. So I'd highly recommend it. Oh, that is so disappointing. I got a guy to take a photograph of me and my friend outside this event that we were at, and it obviously didn't come out. It's the joys of giving your camera to strangers. Sorry guys, see me on my phone here. I'm actually posting to Instagram before I forget. What's the Canon like, Jan? Is it fun to play with? That's really cool. That's really good. Um, I think once you find a camera that you like, I think I think it's great. I think that's when I talk about the camera as the extension of the self. It becomes a natural thing. You just know how to use it. And there's something very special about that. I don't think people speak about it a lot. Okay. Hi, Kenny. How are things? It's good to see you. Thanks for joining. How's everything on your side, Kenny? And yeah, I think, like we were saying, yeah, I think if you know your camera well, if you know your like how to read light well, and then you can communicate that to the camera, I think you're golden. But I think that's photographers have that issue with gear acquisition syndrome, right? We think that our photographs could be better if we get this new thing, if we get that new lens or that new body, and I just don't think that's the case. And that's why I'm really holding off on buying that 50mm, because I don't want it to be a case that's just gas, you know. And it's so funny, like I'm even looking at this now, like this image, that's meant to be the sea. And it's completely blown out, completely overexposed. And that's like when I first got my camera, I had an issue with underexposure. And now I'm having the opposite issue where all my photographs are coming out overexposed because I'm afraid to open up the f-stop or close it to like f11, f16, because I'm in my mind, I'm like, that doesn't really make sense, but it makes perfect sense because it's only 16, right? It's stupid, like. So it's interesting. Now, it's a good lesson to learn. These photographs are from January anyway, so it doesn't bother me, but yeah, it's completely blown out. Like, that is a shocking photo. That's great, Penny. About your film, how much did you shoot? As you can see with this image, it's not as, that is still overexposed, but at least we're getting some kind of detail in the background. So I obviously closed down a stop or two. Am I going to start using a light meter now? Yeah. Well, I have done literally since I got those overexposed images back. I was so disappointed because I had an opportunity for them to be really, really good. Now, I actually edited a few of them and printed some of them to just see how they came out, and they weren't as bad as I thought. Thank God. It's not like they were completely destroyed, but the mid-tones are so muddy. Yeah, it's just disappointing. So yeah, I'm gonna use a light meter. I have the, what is it called? What's the light meter I have? Literally, I was using it today. I've Sekonic. That's what I have. Yeah, I've got a Sekonic L308. So I've just been basically using it and then going off my own kind of knowledge as well. And yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I think I might get a light meter for my hot shoe though, just because it's going to be smaller and easier to carry around. And that's why I love my M4P, because my jackets have big pockets, so I can just throw them in. Throw it in, and I think that having a light meter on top will help with that, instead of me carrying around another a light meter that's like the size of an iPhone. So I can't, there's no setting on my camera that allows me to bring the exposure down 1 or 2 stops. Like, it's fully manual, so it's just the aperture and shutter speed. So otherwise all of these would be perfect, you know? And this is why I wanted to get the fully manual camera, so I could really like learn how to master it and make these mistakes. So expensive mistakes to make, absolutely, but for me it's totally worth it. There's my friend Jasmine again. She's getting all the photos. The Sekonics aren't cheap. No, I think I got mine for 200 and something euros. But the reason that I got it was because I want to do indoor work as well. And I know that some of the hot shoe light meters just won't be capable of that. So it really helps for spotlight metering. So that's what I've been using it for too. So yeah, we'll see. But I did put a poll up on my story about Kex versus TT Artisan for the hot shoe light meter, and like everyone basically said Kex was best, and I think that that's probably an option. But the thing is about Kex is that I don't really like the screen. I like the fact that TT Artisan is like, you've got the dials, and it kind of suits my, I want to say, my aesthetic more with the whole Leica M4P. But I have seen really good reviews about Kex, so maybe. But for now, I'll just take around the Sekonic. And maybe Kex can reach out to me and give me one for free. Wouldn't that be great? I wish. Joey, I presume you've got a light meter for your medium and large format cameras. I presume you use one. Yeah, that's fair enough. So are you just eyeballing it essentially? It's funny, I remember taking this image and I think you guys can see the images okay. I think maybe slightly overexposed by like one stop, but it's fine. You can see the detail in the brick. But it's funny, this is in a local park where I live, and the light coming through, hitting the tree here was just beautiful. And it just doesn't do it justice. I look at that and it means nothing. Whereas in the moment, it was perfect. And I think it's a lot to do with not being able to translate how you feel through the camera, but I also think it's to do with the film stock. I think if it was color, it'd be a lot better, but I don't really shoot color. So with that, I think with some things you just have to like live and let live, like just let it happen. Not all photographs that you take are going to be yours, or not everything you see, you're not going to be able to accurately capture that, in my opinion anyway. Where do you buy expired films, Joey? Ken, you've been taking photographs for so long. I feel like if anyone's gonna be great at photography, it'll be you. I hate social media, but it has to be done. So with this image here, there was actually a you won't be able to see it, but there was a guy who was jumping off the pier into the water, and is so far away. This is the one thing about 28 mil. You can really only capture either landscapes and their environment as a whole, or something that's in front of you or directly ahead of you. Whereas I was so eager, I saw this, I was like, I'd love to get him. If I was to zoom in, I could see it, but it wouldn't be the same effect. If the camera and I was maybe placed on this rock here, and yeah, I think maybe I'd get a better shot. But that's the one thing about 28 mil, you're so far out, and that's what my latest Substack is about. I just posted there, and on Instagram, and what my video this week was about photographers being on the outside looking in. And I think that probably has a lot to do with the 28 mil focal length as well. That's a nice camera, Ken. The Pentax K1000. I think, like, I'm looking at this photo now, and I just know in future I'm not taking landscapes unless there's something very significant about it. And I know that the focal point of the image is somewhat visible, even if it is in the distance. If it's in the distance and it's not visible, I'm just not going to shoot it anymore, because I feel like that's just a waste of film. I really enjoy this. Are the kids looking directly at me in this? Maybe. I don't know why it's scanning again. I'll scan this one and open it and find her after. But I have a feeling the kids are looking directly at the camera, which is interesting. What's the 135 mil like, Ken? What's that like to shoot with? I feel like if I had 135 mil on my camera, I'd be able to get that shot of the guys jumping into the sea. Scanning again. I don't know why Superfast scans twice sometimes. I'm not sure why. Yeah, those kids are looking directly at the camera. That's pretty cool. I feel like it's slightly out of focus. Maybe. It's good though. Good practice. Once again, this is completely blown out in the sky. And I think I've been trying to optimize to expose for the shadows for so long that I've completely forgot about the highlights, and that's where I've made the mistake. Especially on sunny days in Ireland. So yeah, disappointing to say the least. Do I have my pictures online? Is that towards to Ken? Yeah, Ken, I'd love to see some of your images. If you'd like to share, please do. Okay guys, this is the last strip from this roll, and I think from what it looks like there's only 2 images in it. I don't know what they're of, so this should be interesting. So I can either keep going and do another 40 minutes with you guys and look at another roll, or we can leave it for another day. You guys let me know what you think, and we'll see what this is like. Oh, I know what this is. I think you guys can see this. Yeah, if you let me know if you can't see the images. This is a bird cage in a park, near a park where I live. I was wondering what those lines were. Do another roll. Yeah, okay, I might do it because I feel like I have so much film to go through. Like I did the 3 rolls the other day, and it honestly just broke my heart. Like 3 hours, but I didn't do any pre-scans, I just scanned. So I didn't really see what I was getting. But I obviously do pre-scans with you guys to go through the images. So yeah, I'll stay on. And I think, so I can either do, I have another random roll of photographs, me and my friends or whatever. And then I also have, let's get this in. I also have a roll from a project I'm working on with the boxer, but I haven't gone through yet. I think I have 2 rolls of him actually. And so I need to go through them. And then I also have 2 rolls of, actually I have 2 rolls of black and white film of photographs that I took at Christmas time of my family. And I used flash in this. I don't know if they've come out. I've been waiting to scan these for a while. So let me know what you guys think, what ones you'd like to see. The boxer gym images, the random images of my friends, or photographs from Christmas. Yeah, Ken, I'll keep an eye on my email, please do. See you later, Jan. Thanks. Okay, since you guys aren't making a decision, I am going to make one for you. I am going to scan the images of Tucker in the gym because there is only one roll. And so last time I was with you guys, I scanned a roll of these, and I remember going through these with you. And we were discussing how difficult it is to shoot boxers because they move so fast. And yeah, so I went back to the gym, and I also noticed that when I was using flash with the images that it didn't really come out the effect I really wanted. But a lot of the images that I used without the flash had a really cool effect. I really enjoyed it. So I went back and was like, right, I'm going to shoot one more roll without flash, just trying to focus on the light and trying to get it in focus, correctly exposed, before I continue on this project, because I don't want to waste more film. I want to focus on portraits of Tucker as well, but I really wanted this to be another experimental shoot. How can I, if I go to an open f-stop of 2.8, how can I then make sure that the focus is accurate while in a low light setting, while using ISO 400 speed film. And as you can see, so far, not in focus. However, I really like how it's exposed. I really like it. We have some detail here in the shadows, which is lovely. We've got a blowout light here, which I actually really like. I think it's very stylized. We can see Tucker here, he's not in focus, but kind of gives it an edge or something. So let's see, but I think for the images of him boxing, I really like not using the flash. How do I use flash without a light meter? That's a good question. I have no idea. I just kind of go for it. So as you can see, like, I'm actually quite happy with like how this is coming out. It's not crystal clear sharp, but for a low light environment, I really like it, and it's just very good practice for me. I feel that photographing sports people is a sport in itself, especially if you're manually focusing, if you are shooting film, because they're quite fast on their feet. So I feel like I have to be too. So when I am photographing them, I'm getting a workout in alongside them. Well, it's good for me. Yeah, 1/60th of a second, like Ken said. Keep it at 1/60th or lower. And depending on how close you are to your subject on the flash, you are able to set the power of the flash. So you can say if someone is 1 foot in front of you, you're going to say, okay, 1/8 of power, because you actually don't need that much power. They say there's 3 people who are 2 feet in front of you. Okay, half power flash, depending how blown out you want it. So it's not, I think it just takes some getting used to. But using it in the context of the boxing gym, with these guys with manual flash, manual settings, film, manual focusing. I think for me there was too much going on. I had to kind of bring it back to basics, and once I can master this, I'll then come back in with the flash and see what I can do. But I wanted to go through these before I get back to that gym to make sure just that I'm on the right track so I don't go and waste film. So this will be a long-term project I'm working on with Tucker, I think. Yeah, and it's good. Another thing that I've noticed is that like some of the guys who are in this gym, they are a little bit self-conscious that I'm there. I wouldn't even say self-conscious isn't the right word, but they are aware that I'm with them in the room taking photographs. And like, for example, these two young guys, I'd say, oh God, I've no idea how old they are. I'd say they're maybe 11, 12, I think. And I was taking photographs or whatever, and they were very conscious that I was there, in not in like an intrusive way or anything like that, but I think that they were they either wanted some really cool images of themselves, so they were kind of playing it up, or I could just tell that like a couple of them, when I went to take a step forward, they'd be like kind of drawn back a little bit. So I thought that was really interesting. Like, we try to be a fly on the wall when it comes to taking photographs, but in a situation like that, in a place like a gym, it's almost impossible, but that comes with time and familiarity. And that's why I've been trying to go most weeks to kind of build that reputation, this repertoire, if you want to call it, with these guys in the gym. Even though I'm not even photographing them, I'm photographing Tucker. And by the way, I have their permission to take photographs, just in case. I'm gonna use another. What the hell is that? It's completely blown out. Oh yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, once again, I think the light is just so interesting. I think it is quite powerful if used correctly, but obviously have to use a very high f-stop, because otherwise you won't be able to get the light in. Where am I going now? What's that for? Yeah, so like this I think is so interesting. 2026, okay. This photograph is so interesting because it is very blurry, as you can see. You can't, like, nothing's in focus. However, there's something quite artistic, I want to say, about it. I feel like any photographer that's bad at their craft would say that. I really desire to showcase some movement in this project, in this image, in these images. It's naturally because it is a sport. So this is the direction that I'm leaning towards. But in order to do that, I think I might have to close down my f-stop a couple of stops, and then open up the shutter speed a little bit more. But I'm not going to do that just yet, because I think I'd like to tackle the 2.8 f-stop first, and then go from there. But we'll see. I also think there's a bit of there's naturally a bit of movement when I'm taking the photographs as well, because I'm trying to get the right angle when I'm taking the photograph, but also just trying to follow the boxers. I think that's it's hard. Even with this, like, I know exactly what was going on there, but I feel like this opponent should be over to the left a little bit more, and I should have maybe stood to the right a little bit more and crouched even further. And actually someone, I can't remember who it was, in the last live, when I was doing the last session of these images, said to me to make sure that I crouch, to not get as much of the ceiling. And it was really good advice, because I feel like even already these photographs are coming out a lot better from that advice. So thank you. I don't know who said that, but thank you. The sleeping music in the background. Why, Joey, are you falling asleep? That's hilarious. Last time I put music on, I got a notification from YouTube to say that I was breaking copyright laws. I was like, so you're telling me I can't actually listen to music when I'm scanning film? So I'm raging about that. It's off now. I hope you're happy. That's the whole point, Joey. Bedtime stories and all that, you know. Oh, this is a really cool image, but it is definitely underexposed. Definitely underexposed. And I did think, from what I remember, I think I did increase the shutter speed. But I also know to get this image, I have to climb behind a squat rack. Is it a squat rack? Yeah, it would be. The ones you do your deadlifts on. And, or yeah, your RDLs or whatever. And so I had to go behind that, but I know that there was no light behind me that was able to go onto his face. So of course, it's going to be underexposed. But it'd be interesting to know, maybe I could maybe get a video light and hold it when I'm shooting. And I wonder what kind of effect that might give. It almost like a flash effect, but not. So that could be something I could experiment with. And no, it's not a random gym. So this guy, Tucker, who's a boxer, he goes to my local gym. He's one of the PTs there, but I know him from just like out and about. And he was telling me he does classes or whatever, and I found that really interesting. So I asked could I come by and photograph him, and he was happy with that. So once again, you can see like what this is in front of him is actually a punching bag, and he obviously got it straight in front of the camera, but it's interesting, it's just him poking out from behind. But once again, it is underexposed. It's completely underexposed. I like it to a certain point, but maybe there needs to be more light in the room. I would like to photograph him in a better lit capacity. So yeah, I might see if we can get a different location. But for now, it's good practice. Yeah, 2.8 is what I've been using. 1/60th I find is, I don't know, because you see, my hands shake naturally anyway, so 1/60th for me is a bit risky, I find. Yeah, I find that like if you're going to be shooting boxers, you need to be super fast. Once again, I remember taking this shot, and it's good, but you have this like lone figure in the back of the image just standing there. He's not even hitting the thing, so it's an absolute dud of an image. But as you can see, there's a beautiful backlight behind Tucker's face here, and also behind the other boxer here. So the light is definitely doable, but I have to work around them rather than them working around me. I think that's harder. If I had full control over who is hitting who, and where they would stand, and it was actually posed or arranged, then I think it would be a completely different scenario. It's the joys of living with cats. Cat hair everywhere. Yeah, really like that image. So yeah, absolutely love it. So we have this light here shining down over the squat rack with a very young boy, like I said, maybe he's 11 or 12, and we have the older boxer here who is speaking to him, or he's saying something, and then we have another character here coming in who's in his own fight with someone else who's outside of the frame. And that's something I've noticed when I've been working on this project, is this kind of sense of men looking out for younger figures, or younger men in the community, or boys, whatever. I think that it is quite significant, especially because I have heard of, like, there's obviously a huge epidemic when it comes to young men and boys who are not feeling good. I'm not going to get too into it because I don't know what you can speak about on YouTube, But I think having a sense of community and an outlet for these young guys is really important. And this space provides that. And that's what's good. Another good image of Tucker. I always forget, I think these are out of focus, and then I go to them. Some of them are out of focus, then I look at them on the Finder, and they're actually perfectly in focus. It's just because I have the pre-scan at such a low settings for resolution and to save on time. So sometimes I look at the image like this and it's just so much better after it scans through. A flash magic eye. I'm gonna have to look that up. That's really interesting. I'm gonna have to look it up. I've never heard of it before. I presume it's just like a light on a tripod. Because I actually have lights that I could bring to his studio, to his gym if I wanted to. But I feel like it takes away from the natural aesthetic of it. I don't really want anything to be forced when it comes to this. This is a cool image. Obviously got your man punching him in the face, which is great. The only thing is maybe it's a little bit on the dark side. I'd prefer if that guy wasn't there. And also this is the joy of 28mm. While we can get environment and context in the image, I feel like we're losing out in the intimacy. And if I was 35mm, maybe it would be this close and it would just be the top half of them with their faces. Or if I was 50mm, it might be even closer. Which I think could be really interesting as a shoot. And again, another interesting shot of Tucker. I just feel like I'm really far back. And I try to get as close to them as possible. And I ask the fighters before they fight, like, I'm gonna stand literally, I'm gonna match your movements, but I'll be one step behind you on this shoulder. And even still, it's not as close as I want it to be. So I think that's interesting. Yeah, Joey, I think so. Time for 50mm. If you want to send me the money for 50mm, I'd be happy with that too, thanks. I was looking, I think Voigtlander do Color Scope Bar 50mm, and I was looking at it, and yeah, I think it might be something, just not right now. Yeah, this is the image where this guy was just, this kid was just very self-conscious that I was taking his photo. I don't think self-conscious is the correct term, but maybe just aware that I had the camera. But he was so cute. He was all kitted out with his head guard and his mouth guard, and compared to the guys who are maybe in their 20s or their 30s and they're just there with their gloves and they don't give a shit. It's just a lovely contrast. The 50 mils, I think maybe it's around 600, 700 euros for the Golar scope bar, I think. I could be wrong. It's not extortionate. Like it's not like it would break the bank, but I'd really have to think about it before just buying it for obvious reasons. Also, when do you decide that, like, when do you decide that you've mastered a certain focal length? So, have I really mastered the 28 mil? I don't know. And until I feel like I've mastered that focal length, I don't want to move on to something else. But then also at the same time, I think, what's the harm? Could just be a bit of fun. So we'll see. Okay, Ken, that's really interesting. I might look into that. That could be one to use for the future. Yeah, maybe. I think once it fits the M camera, like I'm open to any lens, any 50mm lens, and I really don't care about the sharpness. Like once it takes photographs, that's all I care about. Yeah. I think people overcomplicate gear, and there's just no need to. I really wonder if I stick on even like AI house music or something like that. It will, I wonder if it will like give me a copyright warning. I won't, but I definitely prefer to listen to music while doing this. It's an interesting shot. I actually like it. This guy, I think, was going to be in some national competition later on that week, so I wonder how he did. But I really like, it's not perfect, but I really like the composition of the two light sources here, and I like the way it kind of slopes down, and I got very close with this. I don't know if it's fully in focus, but I think it looks good. And I love the downlighting. I think that's gorgeous. No worries, Kenny. Why isn't this scanning? Yeah, that was him. And to get a photo of him before his fight. A Jupiter 850mm Okay, cool. Thanks, Joey. I'll definitely check that out. Um, really cool. Yeah, I'd like something cheap and cheerful. That's all you really need, I think, to get you going when it comes to moving on to other lenses. I personally don't understand how people spend thousands of euro on um like these like obviously incredible lenses with this beautiful glass, but it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think it's needed. I also really like this image when I was taking it. I think that, once again, I love these bars of light in the gym. I just think they look incredible. But I love the way we have the three young guys looking on at Tucker, who is, I think, embodies a very good kind of being a role model to these kids and involving them in this gym, in this community, teaching them how to fight, teaching them a skill that's going to be valuable to them. I just think it's very good. I wish this guy wasn't in the middle, but we can't always win. What's going on? Okay, this next one is scanning without a rescan, so I'll show what it is in a second. Yeah, completely underexposed here, but this kid's in focus, which is good. I think also I'm trying to focus with if your f-stop is at 2.8 and you're shooting boxers, I think because you might have an opponent that's 1 feet in front of you and then the other one is like 2.5, 3 feet in front of you, deciding what like who you're going to be taking the photograph of, I think is hard because there's just so much action. Really like this one too. Love the backlight. Yeah, I think it's a success. Definitely, Joey. I think it's really interesting compared to the previous role I had. I went in a little bit more prepared this time, and I'm delighted because the next time I go, I'll go in even more prepared. So it seems like there's some really good shots here, but I'm delighted because this is a long-term project. I think that there is room to improve, and I know what works, what doesn't work, so I'll be able to kind of take that and roll with it. Yeah, this one's out of focus completely, but that's okay. feel like my battery is gonna die before I finish this roll, and I don't have enough sockets that I can plug. Actually, I might be able to figure something out. Yeah, this is another good one with Tucker at the front here and kind of telling what's going on. And then we have guys of multiple ages here. So we've got someone maybe in their 50s, 40s, 50s. We've got a 10, 11-year-old here. And then we've got maybe someone in his 20s here. So I think it really does kind of encourage that community spirit within the gym, which is great. I am just going to turn off this camera for 2 seconds while I figure out how to plug in my laptop. Hey guys, so I'm back. I was trying to figure out how to plug in my laptop there. I think it's gonna happen because with Silverfast, I only have 2 adapters on my 2 USB-C ports, and with Silverfast you have to plug it directly into your computer. You can't use any external adapters or anything like that because it won't work. So I have that, and then I have my external screen plugged into my laptop as well. So I'll do what I can to get this roll finished before my battery dies. We'll see how it goes. Another really good photo there of Tucker talking to the guys. And he's got Ireland on his back, which is very cool. Godox flash trigger, remote off camera flash, trigger on camera 1 or 2 flash triggers, but off camera flash on 2. I'm super cool. That sounds great, Ken. Thanks so much. I'm gonna take that and check it out in a while after this. But it's good to know that it's possible. It's another interesting shot of one of the guys at the gym. And I really like the way the blowout of the light here, it just kind of halos his head. I think that's really nice. That's great. Kenny, do you do much portrait photography? And do you have much, like, it sounds like you've got quite a significant setup with your gear. That's really interesting. I'd like to learn more about it. Yeah, Ken, please do. I remember taking this image and thinking, oh yeah, this is going to be a great shot. It is, but it isn't. There's way too much open space here to make it a good shot. If this was cropped as a vertical portrait, we've got the intense focus of Tucker, who's just throwing a punch. We've got the really nice light behind him with the halo on the head. But there's way too much space, and this is when I talk about 28mm. I don't know if it is the right one for me anymore. It serves its purpose, but for what I'm trying to accomplish, I don't know if the 28mm is the one. We'll see. Guys, we have 2 strips left. We might actually get lucky with the laptop battery. It, like, Apple, like, as great as their computers are, like, you think that they'd have more than two ports on the MacBook Pros. This is cool. This is an interesting shot. No worries, Kenny. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Looking forward to that email. So with this image, yeah, it's great because we have the kid in focus, which is fantastic, and good composition. We've got that light in the back. Behind his shoulder is lit up as well. Of course, it's a little bit underexposed by his feet, but I actually don't mind that. Like, we are in a low light scenario anyway, so that's fine. It would be great if this guy in the back wasn't there, but that's fine. And once again, it'd be great to be a little bit closer. But you can only get so close in these situations. Joey, I've got I don't know, MacBook Pro, the M1, Apple M1 2020. I should actually know because I used to work in an Apple reseller store for years. So oh, I like this shot. I think it's interesting. Yeah, I used to work at an Apple reseller store for years, so I know MacBooks really well. But this was the 2020 model. I got it on a refurbed site. This image is interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think that it it could be better, but I think the composition's okay. I don't really know what your man's doing with his hands here. It might be that he threw a punch and he was leaning his weight over to the other side. It's fine. It's bog standard fine. I think it's in focus. The light is okay. That's all that really matters right now when I'm in the situation, like we said. And once I can keep that up, then I think that the better images will come along. And I think I'm already halfway there. Like there's some standout ones in this role, in my opinion. No, not a great shot. Very boring shot. Nothing happening in it. Once again, exposed fine. Great. We're losing detail in the shadows. Yeah, that's fine. It's in focus to a degree. Fine. Is there anything happening in the image? Not really. We've got these really nice leading lines here. We've got the nice blowout of this light, which I obviously really like. And we have something in the foreground, a young man and an older man in the background. But wouldn't it be great if they were actually doing something? Wouldn't it be great if I like waited a moment like more and then he threw a punch or something like that? But maybe I'll look back on this image and think differently of it. But first thoughts, it's okay. That's an interesting shot. I actually like it. So fully in focus, which is great. He must have just punched something, I think. We've got some really nice composition that like just with his head, leading lines into his head and goes straight up and straight out. So the composition's lovely. That wasn't intentional. His facial expression is hilarious, just because I know him. But I'd love if he was actually looking at the camera when I took this. Now he obviously isn't, but now that I think about it, we can see a figure standing in the background. So I think he might have been demonstrating like a 1-2 shot or something like that, whatever it is. It would make sense. So yeah, interesting. I do like it, but I feel like the more that I go through this role, the more images I start to like. So yeah, this one's okay. Kind of in focus here. We see that it's not really because there's a bit of a blowout from the light coming onto his head. We can see this kid in the background, there's a bit of motion blur. So I don't know if the blur was me or them. I have a feeling it was probably both. But yeah, we can see because of the last image, he was obviously using some kind of like 1-2 punch or something. 2 minutes? 20 minutes, yeah, nice. Some kind of like 1-2 punch or some kind of demonstration. And then you can see in this photograph, he's obviously going again, but just in a different angle. Well, this one is completely out of focus. We obviously have a bit of motion blur here, but we also have motion blur back there. So I think I was trying to move with him, or trying to move with his opponent. As I was saying, I would take one step behind the opponent and be at his shoulder, and then try to move as fast as I could to try to get this shot of Tucker. But it might be a case that if I want to get more clean shots of Tucker, that I ask him, can we just stand still without moving around? Because otherwise this would have been a great shot if it was in focus, but we win some, we lose some. Yeah, I thought this was a nice shot. It is of him sticking on his gloves. Really nice backlight. And interesting placement with him between the two bars of the squat rack, and he's also underneath the window. So the composition's coming really naturally in this gym, which is good to see. But I think it requires a little bit more practice. It's doing this thing again where it's scanning twice, and it's like it's not even in the thing. Okay, so we got lucky on the last strip, and it's not a full strip, so we should be finished up shortly. And then I am done for the evening. Get off the laptop. This is another interesting shot with someone a little bit older, and then one of the younger fighters as well. I think it's maybe a little bit underexposed, but I do like the way that we're able to get the detail of his face just here, this kid's face. It's underexposed, absolutely, but we still have a slight bit of detail in his ear, and then it's just the highlights here shaping his face, which I think is lovely. And this is the disappointing one. It's completely out of focus. So I actually kind of like it. it's really interesting, the colors, the kind of shades, the tones of black and slight gray of this boxer. It is quite interesting, but yeah, like once again, it's one of these things, being in a gym and trying to focus with such a open aperture. Um, yeah, I feel like it moves so quickly. So I really need to be like prepared, really need to be on it as much as I can be. Okay, I think that might be it. Let's take a look. Yeah, this I think is the final shot. This is actually this is actually my two cats. They were on a couch. It is totally underexposed. But that is probably the last of it. I'm gonna see if there's any more images, and then I think I will leave it at that. But thanks so much to everyone who logged on and joined me for scanning the film. I really enjoy it. It's nice to have a chat as well while I do it. I thank you, Joey. Always a pleasure. It's always nice to have a chat about cameras and film and go through images. I'm gonna pre-scan this and see if there's anything, but I think we might be done. Yeah, that is it. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was great chatting with you. And yeah, I might do this next week. I'll see. It's whenever I have film, when I have time and I'm able to. But yeah, enjoy your Sundays, and I will see you guys very soon. Cheers.